Hello, it's good to have you back on the Organizational Health Check series by JEYPENT Company Limited. JEYPENT is a management consulting firm that's based in Nairobi, Kenya. We support organizations in strategy, organizational and human capacity development, market research, and related areas. My name is Julia Irongo, and I'll be taking you through today's episode. Today, we'll be talking about monitoring and evaluation, that is M&E. We are asking the question, are you learning or just reporting? Too often, monitoring and evaluation, M&E, gets reduced to paperwork exercise. Numbers on a spreadsheet, reports for donors. But if that's all it is, then your organization is missing the real point and power of M&E. Let's start with the common confusion, outputs versus outcomes. Now, outputs are the activities and immediate deliverables, like, training 50 farmers, distributing 200 maybe toolkits. These are important, but they really don't tell the story. Outcomes, on the other hand, are about change. So, for example, whereas the activity or the output would be training 50 farmers, the outcome would then be, did the farmers actually increase their yield? Or if you issued out 200 toolkits, then the outcome should then answer the question, did those toolkits actually improve the livelihoods of the people who received them? Now, outcomes tell us whether the work is making any impact or any difference. Not just how many people attended the training, but whether their skills actually improved and whether those skills they are now applying in whatever it is they do, maybe their work, whether those skills are actually creating impact. Outcomes will tell us more than how many health facilities received some equipment, but it will answer the question, did the community or has the community health outcomes actually improved following the issuance of those health equipment or maybe the construction of hospitals or clinics. An organization that only tracks outputs, they are just answering the question of what did we do. But an organization that tracks outcomes is actually answering the question, what has changed because of what we did? And that's a big shift from reporting activity to actually measuring impact. But the real test is, does your organization have a culture of using data? One of the ways you can assess this is by asking yourself, do staff at all levels understand and perhaps even discuss the program results, maybe in meetings or in other settings? Number two, you can ask yourself whether the data that is available in your organization, maybe from the project or the assignments you are running, maybe business data and all that, is it used in meetings to guide decision making? Or is it a case where data is there, but it's only filed and maybe used for donor reports and such? Now, when you have challenges that are revealed by data, is leadership intentional to ensure that strategy is actually readjusted based on that data? When your culture supports learning, M&E becomes everyone's business, not just the M&E officer's business. It is one thing to collect numbers and have data, but it's another thing to let that data actually guide the decisions that you're making within your organization and within your business. If reports get written, submitted, and then locked away in a drawer somewhere or maybe hidden in a shared folder, the M&E is just a reporting exercise. But when teams then sit down, they review findings and they adjust strategies, activities, M&E becomes a learning experience for your organization. For example, if your data shows a project consistently underserving women and youth, do you course correct? Or do you just move on to the next report, wait for the next reporting period, and then the data just confirms the same thing and you continue on and on, so that the data actually has no meaning for your organization. Data should not just flow upwards, maybe to donors or the board, for board reports or donor reports. Data should actually flow inwards also, so that it is actually useful in improving programs, and the decisions that are being made, and it should also flow outwards so that it builds credibility with the communities and the partners, maybe the external stakeholders that you have for your business. Why does this matter? Why does having the culture of using data for learning and ensuring that M&E is actually useful is a learning experience for your organization? Why would that matter? This is because M&E actually links directly to planning. So data from M&E should feed directly into your strategic plans and maybe your annual work plans. Evidence of what is working ensures that your plans are realistic and that they are targeted. An organization that learns doesn't just set targets at the beginning of the year and then just forget them. They are intentional to revisit those targets, check the progress, and adjust even along the way. Think of it like maybe driving. You don't just pick a destination and then you close your eyes and hope to arrive. You watch the road. You'll want to see the dashboard. You'll want to see when the traffic. You want to look at the weather and maybe if fuel changes in the journey. So that's what a learning organization does. They are clear on where they are headed, but whilst they are going there and they have formulated a strategy and a plan to get there, they'll often still be on the lookout to see what can be done better, what's not working, what can be readjusted so that we are able to achieve the results that we desire with better maybe efficiency and effectiveness. Now, strong M&E also fuels fundraising. For organizations that are intent and keen and that run on donations, donors many times want to know, they want to get data on what it is your organization or your business is about. Now, many times donors are more interested in evidence, not just stories. They want to see that you can track results. They want to see that you can learn from mistakes and actually just course correct, and that you can continuously improve the approaches and the tools that you have in implementing your project. If you can show with real data that your work actually changes lives, not just that you're busy and have activities and programs running, then you'll be able to build trust, and trust attracts funding. Now, finally, program improvement. Learning from results allows you to strengthen the ongoing programs, projects, maybe assignments, your operations, and design better interventions for future activities or future, comparable like programs or projects. So good M&E helps you spot gaps early. Maybe a training method isn't working, or maybe a policy isn't being adapted. With the right data, you can adapt in real time, not 2 years later when the project is over and there is nothing you can do. It is just the fact is that it didn't work and there was no impact. But with data, you are actually able to adapt real time so that you are able to jump ahead of the situation. And that makes the difference between programs that grow and organizations that grow stronger, and those that keep repeating the same mistakes and maybe just reporting about them, reporting that we have this bottleneck here and here, but growth comes from now sitting then to ask, what is this data telling us and what can we do so that then we are able to improve on the challenges that we can see. So I'll give you some practical takeaways for your M&E health check for your business or maybe your organization. 3 simple questions you can ask. So number 1, do we track outcomes or outputs? Are you just tracking the, maybe activities, the series of activities that you have going, or is there actually a measure on the outcomes of what you are doing? Number 2, are we using M&E data internally to make decisions or just to report externally? Number 3, does leadership encourage open discussion of results even when they show challenges and they are not very glamorous? If you answered no to any of these, that's your starting point for improvement in matters of M&E, and all is not lost. That's the whole point of this episode, that when you get data, when you're now clear that perhaps we are only tracking outputs, or perhaps the decisions we make are not driven by data, maybe the data we have is not, open for discussions from maybe the staff to the leadership or leadership to staff, then you should course correct real time. So in closing, let's come back to the big question. Is your organization learning or just reporting? If M&A is only about ticking donor boxes, you are stuck in just reporting. But if it's about asking tough questions, listening to data, making better decisions, then you are truly learning. And learning organizations don't just survive, they thrive. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode. Till next time.